What it do, what it do, what it do, y'all. Friday night. In case you forgot, every time at 7:30 p.m. EST. Y'all know where to be at. Y'all know the spot. Y'all know the place. Y'all know what's going down. And we're gonna go ahead and get rid of this so y'all can see everything we talk about. Y'all know who we are. Ain't nothing new. Y'all know who we are. It's the PlayCallers Sports Talk show. To my side, I got my man Steven Box. Steven,
What's
what it
up?
do?
What up? What up?
And on the bottom, we got the man. You find him anywhere. You know what I'm saying? You just find a sports show and he probably there.
It
Dante.
was good, man. I'm ready to talk some balls today. Let's do it. I'm ready to talk some sports today.
Hey, I know you are, brother. I know you are. Nobody else said I know you are. Oh, man.
For
I
those
know
y'all,
you are.
for those of y'all that don't know, you can catch Coach Dante on the Ocho.
You catch him on the Ocho, the Uno, the Dos, the Trace, all that. So first comment of the night comes from Big Hayes. What's up, fellas? What up, Big Sleeves E?
What's good?
Appreciate you checking in with us tonight. And for those of you who knew, for those of you maybe not, we got to real quickly just throwback who we are. I want y'all to focus on that live piece right there, because interactive, because that's what we are. So, gentlemen, we have had a lot of things happen within the world of sports this week.
Mm-hmm.
Some just kind of broke, but a place that we have to start. I would feel remiss if we did not start here for the show. The Washington Commanders have finally, and I mean finally, been actually sold. It's been approved unanimously by the other NFL owners. So now we have finally a new owner for the Washington Commanders. And it's important because this is one of the first times that even a minority owner of the franchise has been African American. I know Condoleezza Rice is a part owner of one of the teams, but um, Magic Johnson is in this management group that's going to be taking over this ownership group. Excuse me, it's going to be taking over the team. So a lot of big things going on, a lot of changes. So we're going to start with you, Coach Dante. What are your thoughts on the Commanders being sold? And you know what? While we at it, let's go ahead and throw in your thoughts on the, and I'm using air quotes here, punishment that Daniel Snyder received for all his tomfoolery.
Oh well, it's a good thing for the Washington Commanders fan base. It's just like them down winning the Super Bowl. After hearing that verdict, pretty much, you see everybody celebrating. You see people on YouTube making Twitter videos of jumping up and down about the move. But Snyder is not a good person. He is an awful, awful guy. We all know his allegations. Magic Johnson, talking to Terry McLaurin, talking to him and him being a part of the organization. That's a good thing. That's a very good thing. And he's gonna in this new life in Washington Commanders. What it result on the football field, we definitely got to say that. But this is the first. This is the first step in the right direction, getting Dan Snyder up out of there. And congratulations to the NFL approving it. And what a better way? What a better way from the Commanders to be happy and just have Magic Johnson a part of that ownership. Someone that knows about winning, that could potentially bring a winning culture, a part of that Commanders. That, like I said, that remains to be seen on the football field, whether results will show up on the football field. But this is definitely great for the Washington Commanders, and they're just like it's almost like when they celebrate, when the way they've been celebrating, you'll think you thought it was a Super Bowl. You thought they beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, but this is the right stuff in the right direction. And Snyder got everything he definitely deserved. I was surprised that he'd been in the NFL and the owner that long. I was definitely surprised. I thought he should have been a part of the ownership business at that point. But shout out to Washington, man, to get the scumbag up out of there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Steven, what are your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to agree, man, that I think for the fan base out there, this was an absolutely huge thing, right? Because possibly the only thing they hate worse than that Commander's nickname is Dan Snyder. So to me, this is a huge move. The NFL, we've talked about it on here a couple times, really seemed as though they were afraid of what the backlash was going to be from him, what kind of retaliation he might come with, who he might out, right? And they were acting scared. This is something that honestly should have happened a very long time ago. Uh, we're not just talking about somebody that should have been probably out in the last year or two. We're talking about somebody that should have probably been out of the league 15 years ago, right? Just he's not a good owner. He's never been a good owner. And even with them putting out some of this report, I haven't looked at it yet, but I'm seeing it's like 22 pages. I'm doubtful they really included all the details into this report. I'm sure they left out a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not going to sit there and say the $60 million fine is nothing, but to someone like Dan Snyder, it's not a significant fine. Definitely more of a slap on the wrist. The real punishment was taking the team away from him. So, we could continue to talk about Dan Snyder and what a horrible person he is, but we're just going to say good riddance. And, we get the new ownership group that comes in. As much as I like Magic Johnson, unfortunately, this is the Commanders, not the 49ers. So I still don't hope the best for you. But, I hope they find at least a reasonable amount of success and bring some respectability back to the organization.
So I'm gonna say it like this. Definitely agree with y'all on the fact that the team needed to be sold. Keep in mind, this man made $6.05 billion. Mm-hmm. I believe when he bought the team, he paid around 800 or something like that. What it was, 800 that I can't remember the exact number. I think it was 800. I forgot million, I think, when he bought it. So This man has made a lot of money off of this sale. So when we say things like you're saying, the cost of the team, listen, if I buy a team, if I buy anything, and it costs me 800 million, and I can first of all, I got to have 800 million, but let's just say for the sake of argument, I do, and I can turn around and sell it for 6.05 billion with a B. Oh no! What a punishment! Mm-hmm. Oh, that is so terrible. Now, also, you may not say that 60 million is nothing, but I will say it's jack squat to somebody who just made $6.05 billion.
Well, sir, that's exactly what I said. So
yeah. So I want to make it be known. I think it's not even a drop in the bucket. It's nothing. It's the same thing as $1 from my pocket. It's nothing. It's a joke. And the reason that it happened, I'm going to be straight up when I say it, is because he got dirt on half of them. And he said, you do more than that, I'm going to start releasing the dirt on y'all. Mm-hmm. Dan Snyder should have been let go when everything came up. When John Gruden got fired, Dan Snyder should have had to sell the team then. But he has too much leverage on some of these owners and maybe even the commissioner himself that it didn't happen. Because something's happening as to why he kept that team as long as he did. That's a joke. NFL, you should be ashamed of yourself. You let this man go through there act a fool. He had, 15, 17 different incidents, and he was still an owner? This is a joke. If he had been the color of me or Coach Dante, one thing happened, you out the door. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care who you know. So to let him sit there and do that for as long as he did is a joke that's disrespectful, and it is ridiculous. So finally, what should have happened, happened. I could say a lot more, but we got other topics to get to. So I'm going to run back around, see what you guys think about this. I've heard some reports that there may be a name change coming with the Commanders. What do you guys' thoughts on that?
Hey, man, anything is possible. I'm just happy for the organization, just happy for the organization and the fan base. With the possible name change, it'll be interesting to see what the name change is going to be. The name is going to be now, but with Magic Johnson a part of that organization, that's huge. That's really huge. and I'm impressed with the Commanders. Like you said, it should have been done a long time ago. It should have been done a long time ago, and he did. I wouldn't be surprised if he had some power over the commissioner himself. I wouldn't be surprised because being in that same situation for 30 years and knowing all of this was going on is just a travesty, and it's a shame on the NFL. It's a shame on the NFL. So other than that, just happy that the command that they got him out of the office, and happy for those fans, those coaches, those players, and just see we got the one more thing we need to see is the result on the football field. It's the result on the football field.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about possibly come up with a new name, I'm good with it because at the end of the day, I really have not heard one single fan of this team say they like the name. Right, literally every single person is a fan of this team from day one said they hated the name. So I totally get why they're already talking about possibly changing this. And let's be honest, at this point, you really should completely change every single thing you can to wash the stain of Daniel Snyder off of his organization.
Change it all.
I completely agree. You should change the name. You should change the colors.
Change the colors.
Go in there and give my man a real memorial and not a fake piece of trash. All that. I wouldn't even be mad if they went back to the Washington football team for a year or two while they come up with another real name. You know what I'm saying? That was better than this. You could have called them just Washington, and that would have been better than this.
Yeah.
The Commanders, I think. We went over all the different names. I had a list of like 20 names, Coach Dante. I pulled to you. I had a list of 20 names that would have been better than the Commanders. And I had about another 40 or 50, but for the sake of time, I cut it down to 20. So my thing is, man, you can't do worse. Just be better, man. That was garbage to begin with. I'm not even a fan of the team, and I was mad. You know what I'm saying?
That was crazy.
Yeah, to me, like this really is a win for the entire league, right? Because when you had owners like Daniel Snyder in there, it really brought down the credibility of the entire league. So to me, getting this new ownership group in is going to bring up the overall quality and appearance of the league.
Completely agree. 1 billion, trillion, 1,000%. So guys, we can spend a lot more time on this, but it's really not a need. Commanders, hopefully you get a new name. You've been sold, so we're finally rid of that. The NFL and the joke suspension, you might as well find a do $5. And I'm being generous when I say 5. It really was more like 75 cents to $1, but it's trash. So one other piece on that, though, like an extension of that, right? So players get fined and get held to it feels like a much higher standard than owners in the NFL.
Yep.
So my question is, what do you guys think should be done to close that gap? Because if a player goes out and not even on his own team, but gambles on another team in the organization, within the organizational confines of the team, anywhere in the building, they get suspended for at least 6 games. If they do it on their own team, they get suspended for at least a year. Owners go out here and act a fool, get happy ending massages, all kinds of stuff, and nothing happens.
They get a slap on the wrist.
They get a slap on the wrist at that.
Yeah.
Sometimes that don't even happen.
Yep.
So what do you think needs to happen for the owners to be held more accountable for their actions to the same level that players are held accountable?
I mean, I don't really know what you do, though, because, I mean, here's when we think about it realistically. You tell them they can't be around the team or they can't be around the building. It's not a punishment. You know what I'm saying? Stay home from work. Like, that's not a punishment. If you try to fine them, unless you're going to go astronomical with the fines, I mean, we're talking about guys who are billionaires, right? You're not affecting them with even like, you know, you said a $60 million fine to people with this kind of money. That's not really a big punishment. Well, I mean, what else are you going to take from them? I mean, you can punish the organization, right? I mean, you can actually take away draft picks and things like that. And that might seem like fair compensation, but ultimately, who does that actually hurt? That actually hurts the players that have signed long-term contracts to agree to be on the team. they're the ones who are going to suffer for that because the on-field product is going to suffer. So I don't really know what you do to make it even. I mean, I agree that it's not fair now. I agree that something needs to get done with it, but I honestly have no clue what we do that's going to actually even it out.
Yeah, definitely. Said it. Steven said it all. I don't know what you do. That's a tough spot. I mean, these owners and stuff can get away with everything and get a slap on the wrist, but the players gotta come get a fine and all that, and gotta be away from the team. I don't know what you could do.
So I have a suggestion. So we say, oh, staying away from work, whatever. So let's do one better than that. If we're going to suspend players for a year, let's suspend owners for a year. And in that suspension, what do we do to players when we suspend them? They don't get paid, right? So I'm going to suspend you from all activities with the team. You can't go to a press conference. You can't be at the owners' meetings. You can't do anything regarding the team. You can't go out with team paraphernalia on. You can't earn the revenue that you would have got. That go to the league too. Take everything when they're suspended. Treat them like players. Because what happens is you tell the owner to stay home for 4 weeks. Oh, whatever. Because I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna still get all my money, recoup everything. No, take everything from them. You don't get paid. You don't get the revenue. All of that. Take all of that away from the owners. Don't let them touch any of that while they're on that actual suspension. Don't let them be in the limelight about the sport. Nothing. Make them do what the players do when they're suspended. You start doing that, I think we're going to see the owners act a little differently. Because if you're telling me, oh, I can't be with the team for 4 weeks, I still get all the revenue, and you're going to give me a slap on the wrist fine, I don't care. But if you start really hurting my pockets, if you start really hurting my ability to go out and gloat and be seen as an owner of the team, now I got a problem. That's what needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Rod, what's going on? Rod, we had Rod on a few weeks ago. Rod's in the chat with us now. Appreciate you hopping in with us as well, Rod. But yeah, man, that's just my thoughts on what need to be done to these owners to get them back in line. It's never going to happen. Yeah. So let's be clear. I don't believe for one iota of a second this is going to happen. But if you want to make it fair, that's what would need to happen. But they're not going to do it because number one, the NFL is scared of the owners because owners probably got dirt on the NFL, and essentially the commissioner works for the owners, so not gonna punish his bosses.
That's what I was about to say. I mean, people forget, man. They think that it's the other way around, right? They think that Roger Goodell is the league. No, Roger Goodell works for the owners. Which means at the end of the day, that's the other problem, right? Is if you were basically employed by the owners, therefore you don't really have any authority to punish them, who's going to punish them? They're not going to punish themselves.
A governing body needs to exist to punish them. We all know it needs to.
Yes.
But it's not. You know why it's not? They don't want to be punished.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? They don't want to be punished. So they're not going to be punished. And it is what it is on that. All right, so we'll move on. A little bit more NFL, still in the NFL. So you may or may not have heard about this week. I don't know if you've been under a rock or, maybe you've been where there's no electricity, no internet.
Yes.
Maybe you went blind for a few days, couldn't hear for a few days, or, went on a vacation, turned all your electronics off. But it's been a little bit of an uproar due to the fact that running backs like, Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Pollard, different people did not sign contracts this year. And it's brought a lot of a spotlight to the fact that the running back position seems to be devalued money-wise right now by NFL teams. So I'm going to let Coach Dante start this one off because I believe Coach Dante has a lot to say because I can tell by the look on his face. He got a lot to say. So, Coach Dante, lead us off.
Yeah, man. So, like I say again, I think running back, this is a passing league. So, it's probably one of the reasons why, the running back situation is devalued. But Saquon Barkley, man, he was the engine to make that Giants team go. We all know last year. But good job by Brian Davo, knowing Daniel Jones' strengths as well. When he seems to have the ball in his hands a lot and have to do much, he's a turnover machine. He looks like a damn deer out of a headlight when he's on the football field. But Saquon Barkley is this emergency guy. Saquon Barkley did everything. You can argue he was their best, probably one of their top receivers in the league on their team. He did everything: catch up out of the backfield, run the football last year. He 1,400 yards, definitely coming off a gruesome injury years before. No offensive line like that. And he still be able to run for 1,400 yards. The only reason this running back position is probably devalued because this is a passing league. You're seeing more and more these quarterbacks coming in, mobile quarterbacks as well coming in, running the offense, getting skill sets around to make them perform like a Josh Allen, like a Lamar Jackson. And then you got Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. They're passing like 30 times a game. So it really limits the run game a little bit. But as far as Josh Jacobs, how can the Raiders not pay him? He was the reason why him and Devontae Adams put together. He was the reason why they won any ball games last year. And they never had a top 10, top 5 defense ever. I don't know when the last time they had a top 10 or top 5 defense, but the running back position, Dalvin Cook, he gets cut. He still had over 1,000-yard season, but I understand the direction, Minnesota want to go in because you got another guy in Alexander Madison who fits them better as of right now on their offense, fits them better as of right now than Dalvin Cook. But other than that, I think the running back position is a very underrated position. As long as you keep that ball out of Daniel Jones' hands and put it in Saquon Barkley's hands to keep Daniel Jones from turning that ball over the way he did it last year, I think that's good. And to be honest, man, Saquon Barkley should have got his money, but obviously he did hurt himself because he didn't take the $13 million. He didn't take the $13 million as well that they did offer him. So other than that, the running back position is devalued because this is probably more of a passing league, and we know just like the NBA, it's the three ball. The three ball is big. You see one of these centers popping out towards the 3-point line now. You don't see too many inside the paint centers that much. Quarterback driven league, more drop back passing. But running backs is definitely underappreciated and how they're really valued. And Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs, they deserve to get paid. And fortunately, the organization don't see it that way, but we don't see if it hurts them in the long run.
Fair enough, Steve.
So here's my thing with this, right? So I look at this from a couple of different perspectives. First, I'm going to look at individually. When I look at a guy like Saquon, yeah, he had a great year last year. And honestly, I feel like what the Giants offered to him was more than fair because he's also had a lot of injuries. And we will say anytime that a player is injury prone and has a lot of injuries, that it's understandable why teams don't want to commit to paying them a lot of money, right? So I'm not going to change anything just because he is a great player when healthy. So I don't really have an issue with what the Giants offered him. I think he should have took it. Now, at the end of the day, when you start looking at some of these other guys, like a Josh Jacobs, a Dalvin Cook, names like that, those guys have gone out there, they've produced. I mean, they might have a couple injuries here and there, but for the most part, they've been available. They've played well. And look, you talked about the ball ended up in Daniel Jones' hand, coach. I'm predicting that Minnesota's not going to be as good this year because if you're going to sit there and count on Kirk Cousins more, that doesn't sound like a recipe for success to me. So I think that's a bad idea. But overall, yeah, you're seeing a devaluing of the position. I think there's a couple reasons for that. Coach hit on some of them, but I think, when you look at the fact that a lot of teams are going to a running back by committee, so you're not really having that bell cow running back anymore. The fact that running backs take a lot of punishment. I forget who it was that said it, but somebody had pointed out a very good point, which is you got all of these rules now to prevent the quarterback from getting hit. So teams don't have an incentive to even try to run the ball to protect the quarterback because they know the referee's going to do it for them. So there's a lot of reasons the position is being minimized. So I'm going to take a slightly different approach than what everybody else has been saying. Because I've seen a lot of talk about, these guys deserve to get paid. Yes, they should be paid more or whatever. And, I'm not here to count nobody's money. Get as much as you can. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it's not really to me about saying we should be paying them more, but you got to change some of the rules. Because what I think is garbage is if you're going to make this particular position less useful, if you're going to cut their pay and you're going to pay them at a lower value, then you know what? You shouldn't be able to franchise them, because being able to bring somebody in who is that you're drafting in the first round, you got them on 5 years on a very team friendly deal, and then you can franchise them for an additional 2 years. And if you keep taking the running back market the way it's headed, that franchise tag is not even going to pay that well. So now all of a sudden you're keeping a guy under contract for 7 years, which for running back is basically their whole career, and they're never really getting an opportunity to get paid. To me, that's garbage.
I dig it. So I heard a different approach that I want to slightly alter. So every year, I would say we have an average of what? Probably 300. Just trying to get it. Okay, here's where I'm going with it. Let me rephrase the thought so I can get it out properly. Every year we have a lot of fines, right? A lot of money gets sent to the NFL in fines, right? Mm-hmm. So what is the NFL doing with that money from the fines? Probably sliding back to the owners, right? So instead of sliding those funds back to the owners, why don't we take those funds and why don't we say, okay, you're devaluing the running back. So if we collect $500 million in fines, and of course these are ridiculous numbers, but just follow me. We collect $500 million in fines. We take that $500 million, we split it up between the teams. This is an extra exception will allow you to pay a running back with these funds, and the extra that you get. So say it's like a extra $5 million a team. This extra $5 million, we won't count it against your cap. So that way you can pay this position, and we won't count it against your cap. But it has to only be used on running backs. Can't try to go out and get your quarterback, your wide receivers, your defensive tackles, quarterback, anybody else. Only running backs, because the money's coming in, it's going back to the team. The owners are taking it and being greedy. Why not say, let's put this back into the team so that fixes some of that problem? And it may not get running backs to where they think they could be. And let's be honest, as far as complaining about a dollar amount, if you're an NFL player, if you make $40 million as a quarterback, you want $50 million. Yep. You know what I'm saying? If you make $50 million, you want $60 million. If you make $100 million, you want $200 million. So you're always going to want more. But to make it more reasonable for running backs, because we have to do something where there's an incentive to get a running backs a little bit more money, and you take it off the cap. Think we do that? I think there wouldn't be as much of a problem with it. Again, do I think this is going to happen? No, it's not. But a suggestion that I think would work well.
Now, I do want to just point out real quick, because this is actually a question that I got asked by somebody before, which is what happens to the fines. And so I actually know for a fact that what happens with the fines, or at least according to the NFL, right? And I'm assuming they get audited, so they would not probably lie about this. All of the fines actually go to programs that support former players. I just want to throw that out, just because it's just a random fact that I just happen to actually know, because I've been asked that question before.
Yeah, I believe for a minute the NFL is doing that.
I mean, that's what they publicly say. That's all I can say.
And even if so, the owners have enough money where you could still just, hey, we'll split up whatever it is. We'll get an extra amount of money, and it won't go. And even though we're not giving you extra money, we'll allow you to go over the cap for a running back, and we won't hurt you, and it still shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. I mean, look, and at the same time, you know what? Maybe you should start putting some kind of protections in place for other people. You got protections for wide receivers, that you can no longer hit wide receivers when they're, helpless is the word they use for it, right? So why is it that running backs are one of the few positions that you can still basically just do whatever you want to?
Agreed. So we have a comment here. I'm gonna let y'all respond to this. So Billy V, appreciate you watching. What's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. So he says they should just eliminate the salary cap, so you won't have to worry about how much you pay a player. So what are you guys' thoughts?
I'm going to say that across the board, the NFL probably has the best overall parity of any league in the world, right? And it's because everyone has the same salary cap. There's no luxury tax, there's no going over, there's none of this stuff. You all are working with the exact same numbers. So if you do away with the cap, what you're going to do is you're going to go back to what we had in the 80s and the 90s. And you're going to have like my 49ers when Eddie DeBartolo was there, the Cowboys when Jerry Jones bought the team. You're going to have owners like that who are going to say, I will spend whatever amount of money it takes to win. And you're going to end up with like 3, 4, maybe 5 good teams in the entire league. And everyone else, especially those teams who have owners that would rather take their pockets and line them than put a winning product on the field, are going to do exactly that. And if you don't think that will happen, all you have to do is look at the NBA, where the NBA actually had to create a rule that said you have to spend a minimum amount of money.
Very true.
No, you said it all.
He did say a lot. I would just simply add to that. You're going to have some owners who are going to be more stingy, right? Which is going to go back to what Stephen was saying about how you get that couple of teams that really will spend the money. And then you have some owners that they can afford to pay for the team. They may own multiple sports, so more money may be tied up in things, so they don't have as much to spend. You take a team like the Arlington football team, for instance, right? You give them the ability to just spend as much as they want. You better not ever have a free agent, because if it's at a position that Dallas needs, Dallas will pay them $100 million to be a punter because he can. So I think you do have to have a cap, right? I think you do have to have a cap, but I think you need to make provisions when you see things are going the wrong way.
Yeah,
that's why I say the example of, hey, if we give a little exception, and you could just pick a number. You could say, okay, we'll give you an extra $5 million a year you can spend on a running back. But again, it has to be on top of what you already have. So you have to show where you already were setting aside X amount of dollars for a running back, and we'll allow you to go up to $5 million over. So that doesn't mean you could take $3 million of that and pay a quarterback and say, oh, we only have $2,000 for a running back. Nah, $2 million. That's not how it works. But we'll allow you to go over if it's for running backs, because we understand that they've been devalued a little bit because of what's happening with the other positions, right? So that type of thing, I think, would be best. I would say, in a perfect world, Billy V is right. In a world where everybody would just go out and spend equally, he's right.
Yeah.
But like Steve said, that's not going to happen, just because some owners are going to pay more and some owners will do anything to win.
Yeah.
And we know the Patriots will do anything to win, so they would be another one because they cheat and do everything to win.
Yeah.
So we know they would.
And I will add, if you really want to come up with a system that works, this to me would be the absolute best way to go about doing it. You put a percentage of the cap on each position, and no player can make more than that percentage. Now, that doesn't mean every single player is going to make more than that percentage, but that's a simple solution to it, right? That's how you do it. Because now, if you say that a quarterback can only make at most 40% of the cap, then you get rid of this whole idea of people wanting to go out there and, this person made 30, so I got to make 50.
Yeah.
That's why running backs don't have no money, because quarterbacks getting paid $50 million.
And rising.
And wide receivers making 30.
And rising. Because every time one of these dudes reset the market, it just tears it up for everybody else, because everybody else want to be on top. The newest gurus are always going to get paid more. I do agree that at some point you do have to try to cap some of these positions. You are going up, the salary cap's going up because you have, the new TV deals and different things in place and jersey sales and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, at some point you just have to say, look, man, enough is enough for your position, bro. Stop playing.
Right.
See, I can definitely dig that, man.
Don't care what your mama told you, you're not special.
And I mean, you could be special, but you ain't that special. Would be my thing. You could be special, but you ain't that special. So yeah, a couple of interesting things that were sliding in and happening in the NFL. So definitely wanted to make sure that we kind of talked about those things and got those things, kind of out there. So also, couple more things we had happen, of course. Um, we're going to talk about NFL training camp, but I think we're going to hold off on that. It'll start next week, so we'll just kind of, we can do some different things on that. But because it is a topic on the list, I know Coach, and I know Coach probably got a few that he already thought of. So, Coach Dante, do you have any real quick, um, any type of training camp battles or anything you may want to think people should keep an eye on?
The interesting battle is Quentin Johnson. I think he solidified himself as a receiver uh, for the Los Angeles Chargers as of right now. Going into training camp, he got a good start in the OTAs. The coaching staff likes him. Another guy that can come in right away, fill in case Keenan Allen. He has some history of injury, so you will have another dynamic guy that can possession receiver that can catch a jump ball. That can catch a jump ball and that can make a play for the Los Angeles Chargers. And another one that's kind of fell off the radar in the New York Giants with Jalen Hyatt not looking so well going into training camp. He's falling behind the receivers depth chart, so he's got some work to do in the training camp. I really was high on Jalen Hyatt's game, but that tells you a lot about what Tennessee does with the route tree, how limited the route tree was for Tennessee. Because it seems like, he always got open. He was always by himself. They ran nothing but fly routes all the time, and defenses got confused pretty much. So that tells you he has a lot to work on in the NFL. He has to improve his route tree as well. So other than that, CJ Stroud looking damn good out there. Him and Nico Collins got a great connection. Nico Collins looked like a Super Saiyan God out there with C.J. Stroud throwing him the football. As of right now, the best accurate passer quarterback in the draft coming out of this year. He puts the ball right on the money, but he did throw an interception. But you know what he did come back and do? He let the practice. He ended the practice with a game-winning TD. He fought. Then I can't wait to see him open up in training camp this weekend. He has a huge startup on Davis Mills at this right now. And it looks like more likely you will be seeing him under center for the Houston Texans week 1, and I'm proud of that. I ain't got to see Davis Mills to go out there and throw the ball to me out there. So other than that, you have heated battles all over the place. Devin Weatherspoon, Jackson Smith-Njigba looking really good out there for Seattle. Look promising DB. Him and Tyree Woodland over there. Camp holding it down over there, and Jackson Smith-Njigba is looking pretty good. Him and Devin Weatherspoon got into some fierce battles, Devin Weatherspoon got some in, and, Jackson Smith-Njigba, it's going to be a good competition between those guys. So I'm looking forward to more and more training camp and to see these guys battle. So those are the news that I kind of really picked up. And Will Levis is getting beat out by Malik Willis right now, but they still will consider cutting Malik Willis right there for the Tennessee Titans. So that's the Tennessee quarterback battle going on. And then the other quarterback battle that's not looking so good, Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield. If you can't throw the ball to wide open receivers in shorts and shirt, then I don't know what the hell is going on. If you can't do that and hit a wide open receiver in the end zone, shorts and shirt, you don't need to be a damn quarterback in the NFL if you can't hit those plays consistently. So that will be an interesting quarterback battle in Tampa Bay.
So Coach Dante took mine. Both of them. So, well, Steve, did you have any that Coach Dante didn't take from you? Because Coach Dante, he did a good job of going through a lot of different ones. I do have one I could mention, but you know what?
I'll quote Coach here. He said it all.
Pretty much. Yeah. There are some other ones, but yeah.
Yeah, for me, obviously, there's a few that I'm going to be interested in seeing on my team. In particular, Danny Gray, guy I was really excited about last year. I want to see he's going to be able to step up in camp and kind of, start to show up. But overall in the league, what I'm kind of interested in is just seeing what some of these quarterbacks are going to do, right? Because if you actually look around the league, I can't remember the last time we had this many young quarterbacks in the league. And not just like quarterbacks that got drafted this year, but, guys that last year might have been their first year, but they got some playing time, or, some guys that have been on a roster for a couple years now, but they've been riding the bench because they've been behind other guys. You can kind of see what they're going to do. I think one really interesting story to keep a watch on is Baker Mayfield. We all talked about how Tom Brady went there, and we're all like, yeah, you did good, but look at those receivers that you got, right? So we're gonna see, like, can Baker, resurrect his career with those receivers? Is he going to be able to step up and do big things, or is he going to show that he never was as good as what we thought he might be? So, or is as high as he was drafted, anyways. So that's what I'm gonna be curious to see, is really with a lot of these young quarterbacks, really kind of starting to see how they do. And then getting into the preseason, right? Seeing how they're going to do when they have an opposing defense. And, we all know that preseason defense is kind of vanilla, but they're going to scheme a little bit. They're going to throw a couple of tricks at you. They just want to, start to maybe see a little bit of what your weaknesses are. They're not going to give you anything too exotic, but they'll give you a little bit.
So I got two. Coach did steal one of them for real, but one of them, Homer one. Number 3 wide receiver battle. Biggest battle in camp, in my opinion. Olamide Zaccheaus, Quez Watkins. Whoever wins that battle is going to have a great season, because you cannot continue to let A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith dog you on the outsides, and you got to figure out Dallas Goedert. So if you're taking those guys away, this slot guy, whoever wins that battle, that number 3 guy, he should eat this season. So interesting to see who that's going to be, because we need somebody who's going to catch the ball, get down with the ball, and make high IQ plays. One guy showed that he's not as good at that so far, but you got a chance to redeem yourself. Also, the main one I want to talk about was the Tennessee Titans. And I thought Coach Dante was going to let me have it because he was going through the other ones and he shot it in there. But he's 1,000% right. And I got to reiterate what he said. Will Levis is not looking good. Right? Malik Willis is looking good. Ryan Tannehill's not looking good. Malik Willis looks like the best quarterback in that room, and he's probably going to get cut. So if your team doesn't have a quarterback, maybe the guy that should be learning and developing, that's already in the league, that already understands the play of the league, that already has a little bit of a IQ because he's watched some NFL, even though his team swears that he's so bad, but he's the best quarterback so far on the roster. Maybe he's the guy you want to look at when he becomes available, because I do believe he is going to get cut because they don't want him there. You can't play yourself out of not being wanted. It doesn't matter how good you play. And I think we see that's what the situation was with him last year. That's what the situation is going to be with him this year. So I hope Malik Willis gets to a place like maybe Tampa Bay, where both of those guys stink, and gets a chance to show what he can do.
I do just want to add, I thought DeAndre Hopkins wanted to go somewhere that he had a good quarterback and a chance to win a championship.
He did, until he found out what those teams were willing to pay him, and then he said, "Oh, let me go get this bread." That's what happened.
I was gonna say, because that might be a training camp story to see if he's gonna need to call up Jameis and find out where he got his LASIK done.
And one more thing I want to say to this, I can't wait to see how Hendon Hooker comes off of that injury. As of right now, I can't wait. That could be an interesting battle with Jared Goff. Jared Goff has looked good for the past couple of years, especially last year. Lions should be a lot better, but want to know, like, if he somehow doesn't have keep up this performance. Hendon Hooker is right there. You can argue if Hendon Hooker wasn't hurt, he will be drafted early in the first round. He will be drafted early in the first round if Hendon Hooker didn't go down against South Carolina. So that's something that I can actually keep an eye on going into training camp. And I mean, Will Levis, he's struggling. He's another quarterback, shorts and shirt, struggling to hit the ball, struggling to hit receivers, struggling to throw the ball in between nets and all that, missing the net by missing the net over a mile. And I say again, I think a lot of analysts overhyped Will Levis. Really, I really think they did, thinking he was a first round quarterback, but he really wasn't. And Mel Kiper, I blame you for Will Levis, but being that hype on Will Levis, Mel Kiper.
I watched a little bit of the combine when they had them doing the deep ball throw, which was supposed to be Will Levis's strong suit. And he wasn't even throwing those balls well. I was like, I decided right then, I was like, this dude definitely should not be drafted high.
I'm going to say this. I'm not the king of college football, okay? I'm definitely not. But I do watch college football, I do no college football. I saw Will Levis play, and I was like, this dude is not going to make it in the league. Just like I saw Mac Jones play, and I said, this dude is not going to be a good NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
There's this thing called the eye test. You watched enough professional football, you watched enough college football, you can see which guys are going to translate more than likely. You always could be wrong sometimes, but normally you're wrong in saying, oh, I think this guy is going to be good, and he ends up not being. It's not that hard to figure out who's not that good now, and it gets better defense with better play calling against you and higher quality athletes is not going to be good.
I'm going to tell you this. You struggle against goddamn Vanderbilt, something is really wrong with you. You struggle against Vanderbilt, something is really wrong with you. That should tell you all you need to know. If you struggle against Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt is not nowhere near a good football team. They're nowhere near a good. You struggle against that, you should not be struggling. As good as people say you are, and you're a top 5, you shouldn't be struggling against no damn Vanderbilt. Just and lose to Vanderbilt. That should tell you something right there about Will Levis right there. Not just he didn't struggle against these Floridas or the teams that he should, which is he struggled against Florida big time. He did struggle in that game against big time. But against Vanderbilt, bro, come on, man. Against Vanderbilt? Really?
That deserves an AI treatment. Vanderbilt. We talking about Vanderbilt? You struggling against Vanderbilt?
Not a real team. Vanderbilt?
Vanderbilt, the worst team in the SEC. He struggled against Vanderbilt and lost to Vanderbilt. Literally.
They are literally in the SEC so that somebody in that conference has a good GPA.
So we got a couple of comments here. So Billy V says Hooker's on the NFI list, and the coaches said that this would be a red shirt season for him. Yep, but he's still gonna get paid for that red shirt season. And then Dan Gilbert making an appearance in the comments here. Says Stroud was the best QB in the draft. I said it before the draft. But speaking of the draft,
there's
a little news that came out today. I'm gonna let my co-host Mr. Steven tell y'all about what went down with the number 1 pick.
I had to stop and think for a second because my mind just went blank on me. So so Bryce Young, who was drafted number 1 by the Carolina Panthers, signed a $37.9 million deal. You might think, okay, big deal. And that what the number 1 pick is slotted to make? Yes. But these people in Carolina decided that they just gonna go piss off the entire league. And I'm gonna tell you how I know this. Because we just talked about this last season about Lamar Jackson and how the league was doing everything they could to kind of diminish him because they did not want to create this trend of fully guaranteeing contracts. And what did the Carolina Panthers do? They went and fully guaranteed a $37.9 million deal for a guy who is not taking a snap in an NFL game yet. Good job, Carolina. Good job.
So I want to say right here, I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, right? This is the kind of foolishness, haberdashery, tomfoolery, bull spit, all that they do here in Charlotte. You go out, the best player for your team is sitting there in the NBA draft. You overlook him and go get a guy that potential. You had potential in Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, and guess what happened? The potential set you back for 10 years. You still suck at evaluating talent. You still suck at making the right picks. And I don't know who's doing stuff over there at that organization right now, but you all need to be gone. Then you go across the street. Well, down the street, across the block. And you got the other idiots. So you draft the guy that, in my opinion, was not the best quarterback. Probably the most skilled at this time, but not the best quarterback. The best quarterback is in Houston playing for the Texans in the draft, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
The problem with Bryce Young is size. Does he have skill? Absolutely. I'm not going to say the man does not have skill, but size is a problem. So not only do you go and draft the wrong guy, I feel like, but hey, they could prove me wrong, but I doubt it because it's Charlotte. On top of that, you pay him a fully guaranteed rookie contract. Let me say that again, just so you guys can process this completely. A fully guaranteed rookie contract. In the name of all that's holy, can you bring up a fully guaranteed rookie contract that you remember? Please tell me if you can. You can't. You know why? Because no one else has been this asinine.
The closest we've ever come to something like this happening was what was his name? The Rams drafted, played at Oklahoma.
You talking about Sam Bradford?
Yeah, Sam Bradford. That's the closest that we've actually come to this.
Every dollar guaranteed for a guy that hasn't played an NFL snap yet. I don't even think you can play quarterbacks fully guaranteed that have played 5-10 years in the league.
Yeah.
A small quarterback that you already have durability questions for before he ever plays a game is the guy you picked to do that well.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Charlotte. Congratulations.
I mean, think about it. Like Gilbert said in the comments, you know, Cam Newton never got that kind of money, you know, guaranteed.
Different ownership.
And Andrew Luck, who was considered one of the most can't miss prospects of all time, didn't get a fully guaranteed contract.
So Gilbert also says, go watch his tape against A&M. He trashed and had one game very much like Ty Detmer did back in the day. Of course, talking about Will Levis.
Yeah.
So he brought up Bradford, but we already talked about Bradford, not quite fully, but close. And then he brought up T-Law, same thing, not fully. This is the first time a completely fully guaranteed contract for a rookie. Every dollar, whether he plays one snap and his career is over, one game and whatever, his contract's fully guaranteed.
And for a guy that you should have some legitimate concerns about his size and his weight and his ability to sustain hits in the NFL, that makes this even worse.
And you know why he was drafted number 1 overall? You know why he was drafted number 1? Everybody on the football side did not want this guy. David Tepper and his wife wanted this guy. The football people in the building didn't even want the number 1 pick. They wanted to go to number 3 and get whoever was left between Anthony Richardson and Will Levis, because they knew Stroud and Bryce would be gone. That's what the organization wanted to do, the football people. But you got ownership to say, oh, if we're going to go to 3, just go to 1. So then you go to 1. So everybody's watching you. All eyes are on Carolina. And then what does Carolina do? The same thing that the Charlotte Hornets did. Fumble the bag. Congratulations for consistently being a downtrodden sports city because you don't know what you're doing logically.
And I got to give all the kudos on this one, to Miss McNair too as well. She made sure we get a damn quarterback. She made sure the Texans part on her. She made sure he said, no, we taking CJ Stroud. We taking him off the board. So like I say again, you go through the Michael Kidd-Gilchrist of the world that should have been drafted, that shouldn't have been drafted at the spot. Nobody thought he was Noah Vonleh. That turned out to damn near every pick besides Kimball Walker. Damn near turned out first round pick. Damn near turned out to be a goddamn bust. That Marvin Williams was a productive role player, but he's not worth the pick that he was worth at that point. Then Scoot Henderson right there. You decide to not choose him. And when the mascot gets upset, that's how you know you did something wrong. When the mascot is down.
And my guy, Zikala, in the building. What up, Zikala? Appreciate you checking in, my guy. Oh, man. So, guys, I got a couple more things to cover here. So first, we'll definitely talk a little bit about just a quick recap of the WNBA All-Star Weekend. So great performances in the different events. And I mean, me and Coach Dante have already discussed this. So, Coach Dante, I'm going to just let you do what you do, and I'm going to let you eat on it. And I'm just going to say, I can't wait to see Sabrina Ionescu and my girl Caitlin Clark in the future battling in these three-point contests. And I'm going to leave the rest of you, sir.
Hey, we touched on it the other day, man. So this is what we touched on the other day. The All-Star game, it was good to see Brittany Griner out there dunking the basketball. It was a solid All-Star game. I liked it. Wasn't too much defense played, but it was fun to watch. It was out there. It was fun to watch. Especially Ionescu, set a WNBA record and an NBA record of 37 out of 43s made. Nobody's done that in the NBA either. WNBA Allie Quigley was up there watching. She won 3 out of the last 4 years, and she took off, and Ionescu is the new champion. And shout out to Sandy Wickham as well. She competed hard. May 28th, the first round. But the only thing got in there is that 37, and Ionescu didn't miss. Sandy Wickham she could not miss more than 3 shots, miss more than 2, obviously, and that was the difference maker. And for us, the WNBA, now the Mercury, Indiana. I thought Indiana was gonna be better this year, but they are 6-15. They're disappointing. And the Seattle Storm, what they should do. I know you're not gonna. The coaches, we're not gonna. They're gonna try to go out there and they're gonna give it their best. What they should do is not win another goddamn ball game, because you know why? You got Caitlin Clark, the best shooter in college, the Steph Curry of college basketball. I call her that. The ladies Steph Curry of college basketball can do everything. If you haven't seen Caitlin Clark, I encourage you guys to go watch this girl, man. In Iowa, can shoot out the dribble, can come off screens, dribble a basketball. She's a playmaker. She can get past the defense. She's very good dissecting the defense. This girl, when she gets in the WNBA, that's when things are gonna get real. At this point, you're gonna see her and Ionescu go back and forth. But for us, Phoenix, Indiana, and the Seattle Storm. If I'm Seattle, I would not win another game this year, to be honest. I wouldn't give a damn if you got Jewel Lloyd. She's the best WNBA player as of right now. I wouldn't give a damn if you got her. I wouldn't win another game, because Caitlin Clark is coming in to help out Jewel Lloyd. I'm telling you, that can be a very good combination right there in these last couple of years, getting some pressure, taking some pressure off Jewel Lloyd, because that's something she needed. Ezzie Madnagor, she's a solid player, but she's no Caitlin Clark. She's no Jewel Lloyd. She's someone that's an all-star. She's an all-star caliber player. She reminds me of a Bam of basketball. She's a guy. She's gonna block shots. She's gonna get 15 points a night. She's gonna get about 9 rebounds, but she's not a three. She's basically not a superstar caliber player that you can look at. She can do it, but again, this team is so young. Caitlin Clark. Okay, you got Caitlin Clark. You got Deja Kelly coming out this year from the North Carolina Tar Heels as well, I believe. I believe so. You got a lot of draftees coming. out. Haley Van Lith is gonna be also good. This is set up to be a really good WNBA draft class. But if I'm the bottom 3, I would be looking for Caitlin Clark. I would try not to win another game, but that's something they're not going to go out there and do. They're going to go out there and do all their best. And you already know the Sparks look like a mess at this point. But one thing they can do, they can beat my Dallas Wings. That's one thing they can do. But other than that, they don't play defense very well. They're 7-14. They don't play defense very well. They definitely miss Lexi Brown. They definitely miss her. She came back last night. She was really good. The Mystics right now are losing to the New York Liberty as expected. New York Liberty is probably the second best team in WNBA at this point. If Lena Deladon's still not back, they're struggling offensively. Their defense is really good, but if you can't score on the offensive side of the ball, then defense is going to have some holes. Shout out to the Atlanta Dream. They still remain to be hot. Coming out of the All-Star break, that team looked good. That first quarter, Ryan Howard was on fire. They set a record in threes in the first half. My Dallas Wings, shout out to them. They come out, pounce the New York Liberty right away. Those are the two teams that can be scary to any team at the top of that conference right there.
Now, Connecticut did get us the other day, but hey, can't win them all.
Yep.
Can't win them all. Gold Mama gonna get at least 5 wins by herself, Coach. She can put out there with 4 dummies and she'll get 5 wins herself.
Yep.
Jewel Lloyd is that nice.
Yep.
She is nice. I like Ryan Howard. Of course, she's on the squad. Alyssa Gray, great pickup. Cheyenne Parker, wonderful trio that we got, and a bunch of other ladies too. I'm not sure anybody, just don't want to go into the whole team on the show. But a lot of great teams in the WNBA. Find you one, watch them. I mean, even the ones that aren't as good right now, just watch them get better. Indiana, Indiana is looking solid, right? They got the rookie of the year, Leah Boston. By the way, Leah Boston, first bucket in the All-Star game. You know what I'm saying? So it tells you this woman is starter. A lot of rookies don't start in the All-Star game. So
not at all.
I'll tell you, she's somebody to watch out for as well. There's a lot of great players coming out on the female side. I say this everywhere I go when we talk WNBA. Some people don't like it, some people do. They got to expand. Too many great players are not able to play because there's no spot for them. These older players, like my man Pot said, all you old players, I'm gonna switch it up a little bit, trying to advance. It's all over. It's time for you to get out of the younger players' way. And some of you are still good enough to play, so you should play, but some need to go ahead and sit it down. But there needs to be more teams. As the girls get better, the young ladies get better. I apologize for that. As the young ladies get better, they need the opportunity to play. They need places to play within the United States in the WNBA. We talk about security, the whole Brittany Griner situation. How do we stop that? Get another couple of teams.
Yep.
Get some more games going on. People like us sit here talking about it, making people aware, because that's what the WNBA needs to grow. We need our ladies in American soil playing basketball, earning a decent wage. Obviously, it only could be a portion of what the league earns, so you can't make the same money NBA players make anywhere near that. But let's help grow that side of the game so that we can keep them here, keep them safe, and we don't have to keep going through situations like we just did.
Yep. And people like Bree Beal. She'll be in the WNBA. She should be in the WNBA playing basketball.
Destiny Henderson should be in the WNBA.
Yeah, Destiny Henderson should be playing basketball. Kiana Traylor just had to get on a squad. Just got on a squad. She just got on the squad. I thought she was really good in the preseason for the Chicago Sky. I thought she showed something good enough for her to make that Chicago Sky basketball team. Abby Myers, girls like that. These are first round pieces that are getting cut. So I definitely agree with the WNBA should be expanded more because there's too many good players out there, especially that got drafted that's not getting a shot.
Right, absolutely. So yeah, just wanted to talk a little WNBA real quick, a little All-Star game recap, and all that good stuff. We kind of get off the rails with it a little bit, but it's okay. It's okay. Y'all see the passion. You know what I'm saying? So it's all good. All right, so guys, last thing we have on the docket here. So I asked the question in the chat: 5 NBA players who you think will have a larger role and impact on their team in the 2023-2024 season. So obviously for this question, you can't be a rookie because you could have had an impact last year if you were a rookie. So we got to talk about guys that are going into their second year and beyond. So Steven, let's rock with you on this one.
What was the question again? I was
give us 5 players that you think are going to improve and have a larger role on their team this coming NBA year. So these are guys that have to be second-year players and beyond, because if you're a rookie, you didn't have any impact on your team last year because you weren't on the team.
Go with Coach first because I got to think about that one for a minute.
Go ahead, Coach. Yeah, as a matter of fact, we'll come back to you last, Steve, because I already got my list ready too.
Go ahead.
No, you go first.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna go with Bruce Brown for the Indiana Pacers. I think he's gonna definitely be a help for them. Due to he did win the NBA title. He can play a little point forward position. He's a good pickup. The Pacers, I think they're gonna be really good this year. I think they're gonna be a playoff type of team. If you get a healthy Halliburton, if you get one of my favorite players in the draft, I love this guy, Jarris Walker. Definitely a big fan of him. Definitely had a good summer league. I like him a lot. He's ready to play for day one. You definitely gonna have. You still got Buddy Hill, Miles Turner on the team. That team looks competitive, but Bruce Brown is definitely gonna take another step up and help the Indiana Pacers out. Another one, I'm gonna go with Christian Braun. Christian Braun for the Denver Nuggets. Now, other than that, Bruce Brown is gone. We seen Christian Braun compete in the finals. He played hella good. In the finals. He picked up a lot of slack. He definitely can shoot the ball. Definitely a great energy player. I'm gonna look for him to take a step up in the NBA. Dude, that he has that championship experience now. That he knows what he's doing on the court, and Mike Malone playing him some huge minutes. I think he will take a step up coming off that bench for the Denver Nuggets. Another guy I expect to step his game up. This team is not going to make the playoffs, but with Damian Lillard gone, he should be the go-to guy to go to outside of Scoot Henderson. Shaedon Sharpe. Shaedon Sharpe looks really good. He looks really good for Portland. He's a good shooter. He's a good leaper. Man, you talking about athleticism is good. This guy is crazy good at athleticism. He can also shoot, create his own shot. Shaedon Sharpe is really good. As well. I'm expecting him to take a big step up. Now, more of the guy that's on his team that should definitely get more opportunities is Anthony Simons. Anthony Simons should get more opportunities to break out. I'm expecting him to be at least a 20-point per game scorer in the league this year. Now that I think we have to assume that Damian Lillard is going to be gone. Won't be starting the season in the Blazers uniform at this point, but I'm going to be looking for definitely Anthony Simons to take that leap up. And another one that I'm going to go with is Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren, technically this is his rookie season, but he got hurt last year. So Chet Holmgren, I think he can definitely help the Thunder out in the middle. Definitely got bigger, bulked up his upper body frame, and I'm be looking for him to take a step up for the Thunder this year.
So first thing I'm gonna say is, Coach with the cop out with the dude that didn't play last year. Of course, he gonna be better.
I couldn't pick Chet.
You can pick him. I mean, I'm just saying.
Oh no, he technically his second year.
He was drafted, so yeah, you're right. But I mean, all he gotta do is play 1 minute, score 1 bucket. That's all I'm saying. But hey, you did follow the rules.
Yep.
Fair enough. So I was gonna pick Christian Brown, but I figured Coach would pick him because it's a good pick. So I'm gonna actually go same team, but I'm gonna go Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson is now gonna take over as the primary backup to Jamal Murray. So he's going to see an uptick in minutes. He's going to be able to play. He's not going to be sitting on the bench watching. He's going to get a chance to be involved, make plays, do what Reggie Jackson does. He can make big shots. He's aggressive. He's a leader. Now he has the championship pedigree. So a lot of the things that Coach was saying about Christian Brown, except of course for him being only a second-year player and Reggie being, more of a grizzled veteran, he's a guy that I think is going to be a lot better this year and kind of step it up. And a guy that Gene loves, Benedict Mathurin, for the Indiana Pacers as well. I think he's a guy that's really going to be able to step up. Didn't have great stats last year, so statistically it's not going to be too difficult for him to, step up. So kind of like I got to call myself out if I call Coach out. I need to pick another guy that you ain't got to do too much to be a lot better than he was last year. Yep. But I think he's going to be another one, right? I think we're going to see James Wiseman.
Love it. Love that pick. Love the pick.
I think he's in a good situation now. He's going to have an opportunity to understand who he is. He's going to have an opportunity to grow with a young core and not be asked to come in and play championship basketball when he hasn't been developed. He doesn't have a mentor on the team to help him get better. He's going to be allowed to grow at his own pace, learn. He didn't play really, but about 5 games of college basketball?
Yeah, he played about like 3, I believe. 3 or 5. One up and down.
It probably was more like 3. I was just saying 5 just in case.
No, you in the range. You good. You in the range. Yep.
But so he needs time to grow. That's what happens. So those are 3 guys for sure. Now we can look around the league and there's several other guys that we could talk about. But I want to go to a guy that was on the Miami Heat last year. And I can't remember which guy I'm talking about. You're going to help me, Coach Dante. The one that went to the Lakers.
Vincent?
Yes. Gabe Vincent is going to have a big increase because with the Lakers, what's going to happen is he'll get a lot of chance to play because he plays defense, he hustles, he rebounds, he can move the ball, and he's going to be able to shoot because he's going to be surrounded by a lot of guys that don't shoot well. So he's going to get a lot of opportunities. So he's going to have a boost because he's going to get more opportunities, in that specific situation. So I do think he is. And then I'm going to go with a little bit of a wild one, but y'all follow me. The best rookie in the league last year, Paolo Banchero, he's going to get even better next year because he's going to develop that body more for the NBA. He has a year under his belt of learning how to play the game in the NBA.
Yep.
He also has learned a little bit more mentality-wise, because keep in mind, only a one-year college player. So this next 2 to 3 years, we're going to see continued growth out of Paolo Banchero until we get a true superstar. Because even though that suit that he wore was atrocious, he played really well this year. I was very impressed with him. And again, I have to always preface by saying, when I give a Duke player credit, he did a good job.
Yep. I will say I will go as far for Stephen Go. I will say go as far he will be an all-star next year. I would say Pablo will be an all-star next year.
I could see that, because half of them cats don't even deserve to be there anyway. So I can see that.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to keep my list kind of short. We're at time anyways, but there's one non-Laker I'm going to talk about, and that's Jaden Ivey.
Okay.
Really kind of struggled at the beginning of last year, but towards the end of the season started to kind of find his footing a little bit, and I think he's really poised for a really great season this year. And then for my Lakers, two names that come to mind for me, Max Christie is a guy who didn't really get to play last year, but I think a lot of the reports you're hearing out of him out of summer league, he's really taking his game to that next level. So expecting him to work his way into the lineup and do some things this year. And much like what we were just talking about Paulo, it's like I think that Austin Reeves is a guy who is going to be even better. Because I think they're actually going to allow him to handle the ball a lot more, facilitate more of the offense. And I think that's going to give him an opportunity to be even better this year than he was last year.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and finish out two more for Steven, since we're supposed to be doing 5. But I already had 2 ready just in case. So we got a guy that used to be a Laker. Actually, both of these are ex-Lakers. One is Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole is going to have a great opportunity to show that he could be A or B on that team, because between him and another ex-Laker, which is crazy, Laker and then the ex-Warrior, excuse me, we got the name mixed up. So ex-Warrior, ex-Laker are going to be on the same team. So you got Jordan Poole, and you have I just threw my whole thing off. That's okay. Jordan Poole is going to have an opportunity to get a lot better than ex-Laker Dennis Schroeder in Toronto. Because what Schroeder's going to be able to do Toronto with Fred VanVleet moving on to Houston is he's going to slide into their starting role. So volume's going to be there, opportunity is going to be there, shots are going to be there. And one thing that I think a lot of people don't give Dennis Schroeder credit for is his ability to cut to the basket, to be very aggressive, to be quick, to handle the ball in situations where you really need the ball to move fast. This is a guy you can get a ball and he's a streak, right? He moves very well with that ball. So I think he's going to have a chance to have inflated numbers because of the situation he's going to be in. The ex-Warrior, excuse me, I said Lakers. I was already thinking of Dennis Schroeder, but the ex-Warrior, Jordan Poole, is going to have a chance to have a great year as well. So 2 other guys that are going to definitely step up.
You done sent me to Google, bro. I'm like, I don't remember Jordan Poole being a Laker. When did this happen?
I'm gonna give one more for the thing of it. I'm gonna go from Utah, Ochai Agbaji. I'm gonna go him. If you ain't seen him in summer league, go crazy. Well, he got minutes early. He kind of got his foot in last year. He was really good. Every time he got on the court for Utah, he was really good. And in the summer league, he proved himself to be pretty vulnerable. Him and Keontae George can be a scary backcourt in the near future together. So I have to throw some love, and I think he's gonna get a big step up in minutes this year for Utah, and I think he's gonna definitely help out Utah this coming season. Ochai Agbaji from Kansas, national champion from Kansas, 3-and-D shooting guard, can shoot, got great athleticism, and he's a solid defender.
And just because he popped in my head, we can also say Keegan Murray. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
Let's get it. So, gentlemen, we have covered our topics. Come to the end of the show. We start with you, Coach Dante. Any last words? Let the people know where they can find you.
Oh, man, y'all going to find me in like 12 minutes. We got the
everywhere.
NBA offseason on the Empire Sports Network. We got the NBA offseason coverage when we cover everything during the offseason. We're going to do that until, Top of the Key come back. And Top of the Key come back, that's going to set up Top of the Key in the NBA season. So look out for us up there. But you can find me everywhere, on every YouTube, down there, every sports platform. You're going to be able to find me. You ain't going to be able to miss me at all.
This is very true. Steven, man.
So I just want to let y'all know that Fridays, Play Callers is taking over the whole day. Because this is what I was typing earlier why I didn't hear your question, cool. Just dropped it in the chat. 10 a.m. EST. If you're here in Atlanta, you can find us on your radio 99.1 FM. If you're not in Atlanta, you can find it on TuneIn. And I got that link in the chat for y'all. And then, of course, you can still come here 7:30 p.m. and chat with us live and interactive. So 2 different shows. Play Callers Friday. We taking over the whole day. That's right. We'll do a lunch show too, just to take over it all.
This guy. But yeah, man, for me, you can find me youtube.com/at Eagles Elite Podcast, youtube.com/at Real Play Callers, youtube.com/at Sports Empire Network. I'm gonna be on all them platforms, more coming. We know we're getting back to the NFL season. Matchup Madness is gonna be flying in your face real soon. Hopefully, I can get Coach Dante if he ain't already committed to 7 things on that night to help cover the Texans. You never know about Coach Dante because he's a busy man.
Just let me know, man. Let me know. I got you. Let me know.
Bet it up. And then, NFC Beast will be back on Saturday night, so stay tuned for that. Just a lot going on, man. A whole lot going on within podcasting, within just the guys sitting here. And stay tuned. There's always more. Believe me, we can never get enough. You got to love sports to do this, and we definitely do, especially the man below me. And with that being said, we'll go ahead and take care of things for the evening. Appreciate everybody that watches, everybody that watches the replay. And as always, remember, tell 2 of your friends and 4 of your enemies, because just because they don't like you doesn't mean they won't like us. Holla at your boys.